And you look like you're really at home out there in left field.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to help the team out in any way that I can, and just do whatever's asked of me.
How difficult has it been for you to all of a sudden, and I know it's a cliche, and players hear it from the time
Yes,
they're
sir.
old enough to play, but, I mean, basically you pitched a little, you were a pinch runner, and then all of a sudden now you're one of the feature guys in the lineup. How difficult was it to remain patient just in case this came up?
Just practicing every day like I'm going to play, just preparing for that moment when that time does come. Just staying mentally positive and waiting for that opportunity and knowing that when I do get that opportunity that I need to make the most of it. And so lately that's all I've been trying to do is just do whatever I can to help the team out in any way possible.
Somebody asked me, when you talk to him, ask him if he's just given up on pitching. Well, I said it's not his call, but we know you still could pitch. But
Yes, sir.
where does that in your mind fit in the old picture?
I mean, as you saw when we were playing West Virginia, I even came in while I was playing in left field to pitch. So, just being ready. I still throw bullpens. I try to get flat ground work in whenever I can. But as of lately, I've just been focusing on outfield and hitting and all that stuff. But, I feel like when McCusker becomes healthy again and if I'm not in the lineup, I still need to be ready to pinch run or to even pitch. So, yes, sir, just staying ready at all times.
Natural position for you. Obviously, you're an athlete. You can go run and get things, and you can certainly cover a lot of ground. You anticipate well. So it wasn't a big transition for you to go to the outfield?
No, sir, not at all. I've played the outfield my entire life, and that's where my home's at. So it wasn't a big transition at all for me.
It's always a tough situation. You're friends and you're close to McCusker. You want him to be playing. But obviously, while he's not playing, you have to pick up the slack. So maybe there's a little bit more motivation to make sure that you're doing what he could do.
Yes, sir, no doubt. McCusker's off to a great start to the season right now. And I just felt like it was my role on the team to pick up where he left off and get things rolling and just doing my job.
We talked a lot about the wind in Wichita last night, and being from Lubbock, I mean, that was a usual day for you, wasn't it? Wind blowing.
Yeah, it was a normal day for me, especially being from Lubbock. But for some of the other guys, they were just, wow, this is crazy. I've never seen the wind blow this hard. And for me, it was just another typical day in West Texas.
And you played it as well, but we were talking before we went on the air. What a crazy game, huh? For crying out loud.
Yeah.
You were involved in one of the plays of the game on a play where the guy at third for Wichita State kind of got hung in the middle, didn't know if it was going to drop, didn't know what to do, didn't tag, didn't do anything. You came in and made a great play, and they got nothing out of that rally.
Yeah, it was a good defensive play. It held the guy at third, which ultimately came down to a one-run ball game. And so I feel like, just preparing for that, I knew that I was anticipating the ball being hit to me, so I was ready for it when it happened, and I knew that I'd make a good play at it.
Now, you guys, you do a great job of defensive placement and positioning. You had to know Jackson wasn't he's not a power hitter, so you had to be cheating in a little bit, maybe, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir. Coach Romero had me shifted over, and I knew with Peyton Battenfield on the mound, he's a pretty powerful right-handed guy, and I knew that the ball was probably going to have a little lefty slice to it, and so I was anticipating the ball slicing down that way.
Were you surprised when you actually looked up and the guy was coming back to the bag, obviously? Were you surprised he didn't even take a chance on tagging? And I know those reads are not as easy as I'm trying to make it because,
yes, sir.
I mean, if he takes off, then it's a double play, so he's kind of caught in between. But it was a big play. Were you surprised to see him still there?
Yeah, when I looked up and I was getting ready to throw to home. That was my initial reaction to it. And when I saw that he was going back to the bag, like retreating back to tag, I was just happy. I was like, wow, I figured it was gonna be a lot closer play than what it actually was. It ended up paying off for us, so it was a good one.
Because I say, have you ever been involved? Anybody's played games, been involved in all kinds of stuff. But I'll say this. Do you remember many games that you played in that the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th look very promising for the other team, and they didn't score?
No, I have not. Last night it was a roller coaster of emotions because they would lead off the inning with the double, and I'm just like, all right, get ready to have a play at the plate, and then something would happen. Either you'd get a big strikeout or a ground out or even a pop-up in the infield, and then it was just like the tables turned and it was back in our hands again. So, yeah, it was a crazy time last night.
What were you looking for in the when you came up? Cabinets was at second, I believe. Maybe third. Maybe he moved over on the infield lot. I forgot. But nevertheless, he was in scoring position when you got the base hit. They drew the infield in, obviously, so he was at third. What were you looking for? To just drive it through? You went opposite field.
Yes, sir. Well, after my first at bat, I felt like I was out front and early on it, and I rolled over to second base. So after that inning, I told one of my teammates who was on the bench, and I said, hey, next at bat, just yell deep, 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 so I could see it deep and drive it the other way. And that opportunity came, and I knew the infield was in, so either I needed to get a sac fly in the outfield or a pitch that I could handle and hit the other way into that gap. And I just got that pitch outside, and I just drove it the other way.
How big a win was it for this team? Obviously, coming off a tough week, the 2 games against West Virginia, you guys wish you had back, the Central Arkansas game. So you start this week anew. You started with a win. Crazy game, but it is a win. Yes,
sir. It was definitely needed, especially after this past week. We struggled a little bit, and so starting off this week right is just what we needed heading into the weekend against KU. So it was good for us.
What was the bus ride up to Lawrence like? And I don't think you can get any snow. It's going to be a little colder than it was here in Stillwater. But obviously looking forward to this series with KU, which even though the record doesn't indicate it, they do have some weapons. And our record up there for the last, 3 trips hadn't been above 500. So they're going to be in there for the fight, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're a great team, and we all know that. We're just excited to get out there and play despite the weather. We've played in all kinds of conditions this year, so I think we're ready for it. But, yeah, the mentality is all good on the team, and it's all positive, so that's always a good thing.
Well, I got to ask you, how in the world did you get away out of Coronado High School with Tech just a couple of blocks away from where you grew up?
Yeah, when I went to Oklahoma State to visit it and I talked to the coaches, I knew that was the place for me. Lubbock's a great place, and I have a lot of family and friends that are still there and attend Texas Tech, but I just knew that Oklahoma State was the place for me, and I just knew that with our coaching staff and the guys that I'd be surrounded with was in my best interest. So, and I'm forever thankful for that decision that I've made.
One of my best friends is Tyler Lyons from Lubbock, and
yes, sir.
Tyler, we used to get on, when we had visits on the radio and in person, I'd always say, did they welcome you back to Lubbock with open arms? He said, I've been gone enough now where it's not a big deal. But
yeah.
What about your buddies? What did they think when you decided to go there?
That'll be an experience. We head to Lubbock this year, so I know that they'll be rooting for me, but at the same time, they'll be giving me a hard time. So it'll be interesting, especially knowing a lot of people in Lubbock and knowing how big of their fan base is for all sports, but especially baseball. It'll be interesting to see what they pull out of their sleeves.
Last thing, what other sports did you play in high school? Obviously, you majored in baseball, and that's where they came a-knocking, but anything else?
Yes, sir. I also played football and basketball. I loved football, loved basketball. I loved not having an off season. I was always going, doing something, whether it was baseball season, I would go to the gym and play pickup basketball after practice or after games, and we're still doing that in college. A few of our guys on our team will go up to the Colson Center and play pickup basketball games. So I love sports in general, and growing up, my dad was a coach, and I was surrounded by all of his athletes, and I wanted to be like them when I grew up. So I think that's what kick-started my love for sports.
Let me guess, wide out. Guy who can run and catch and run off from the defender.
Yes, sir. I started out as slot receiver for the first 3 years, and then my senior year, I asked my coach if I could move to outside receiver because I wanted to outrun everyone and go catch the deep ball all the time. I was tired of taking shots up the middle and stuff, and so he moved me to outside receiver my senior year, and that was ultimately the best year of football that I had. So it was a great time.
It's spoken like a true receiver. I want to just go out there and outrun somebody. That's right.
Yes, sir.
You say you kept that same mentality in the outfield. You like to go run down that baseball as well. Hey, I appreciate you picking up the time for us here. I know you're getting out to practice, but great. I guess 5, 6, 7, 8 games, whatever the total is right now, where you've been out there consistently. You look like you deserve to be there, and we haven't slipped much at all, if any. So continued good luck and success, and we'll be watching you this weekend up there in Kansas.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate all your support.
All right, buddy. Thank you. That's Noah Sifrit.